My sister-in-law tried to take my kids after my wife passed away, and she called the cops on me, but the judge's decision left her speechless. I, 29M, lost my wife Mia, 31F, in a tragic car accident 6 months ago. We have twin boys, Ethan and Noah, 7M, and adjusting to life without their mom has been incredibly difficult. Mia and I met in high school when I was a sophomore, and she was a senior. It wasn't love at first sight or anything dramatic like that. We were lab partners in AP biology, and at first, we couldn't stand each other. Mia thought I was a slacker because I was always joking around, and I thought she was uptight because she was so focused on getting perfect grades. But as we worked together over the semester, things changed. I saw how passionate Mia was about science and how her eyes lit up when she talked about her dreams of working in tech. She saw that beneath my joker exterior, I was actually pretty good at biology and cared about doing well. We started hanging out outside of class, studying together, and eventually, those study sessions turned into date nights. Everyone thought we wouldn't last when Mia went off to college. They said high school relationships never survive long distance, but we proved them wrong. We talked every day, visited each other as often as we could, and when I graduated 2 years later, I chose a college near her so we could finally be together again. We got married right after I finished college. It was a small ceremony in Mia's parents' backyard. Mia's sister Jen, 35F, was the maid of honor, and my best friend from college was the best man. Mia's parents, John, 62M, and Linda, 60F, were over the moon. They'd always treated me like a son, and now it was official. We had the boys a year later. It wasn't planned, we were both freaking out when we found out Mia was pregnant and then doubly so when we learned it was twins. But from the moment Ethan and Noah were born, they became our whole world. Mia was always the ambitious one. She landed a job as a software engineer at a big tech company right out of college and quickly climbed the ranks. I had studied education, planning to become a teacher, but when the boys were born, we decided it made more sense for me to stay home with them. Mia's salary was more than enough to support us, and childcare for twins would have eaten most of my potential teaching salary anyway. I loved being a stay-at-home dad. I got to witness all of the boys' firsts, first steps, first words, first day of school. Mia would come home every evening eager to hear about their day, and weekends were always family time. We had a good life, a happy life. Then, 6 months ago, everything changed. Mia was driving home from a late night at work. It had been raining, the roads were slick, and a drunk driver ran a red light and hit her car. She died on impact. In an instant, our perfect little world shattered. The first few weeks after Mia's death are a blur. I was in shock, going through the motions of arranging the funeral and taking care of the boys but not really processing what had happened. Jan and Mia's parents were a huge help during that time. They practically moved in, cooking meals, helping with the boys, fielding calls from well-wishers. But as the weeks turned into months, I started to feel suffocated. Jen, in particular, seemed reluctant to leave. She'd come over every day, often staying late into the evening. At first, I was grateful for the help. She'd cook meals, help with the boys' homework, and even started teaching them how to play the piano, something Mia had always wanted to do but never had the time for. However, over time, Jen's behavior became increasingly controlling and critical. She started making comments about my parenting. She'd say things like, "Mia would have done it this way or the boys need a woman's touch." It hurt, but I brushed it off, thinking she was just grieving too. Then she began criticizing my efforts to find a job. With Mia gone, I needed to start earning an income to support the boys, but every time I mentioned a job application or an interview, Jen would say, "You should be focusing on the boys, not on your career, or Mia wouldn't want you to put the boys in daycare." I tried to explain that I didn't have a choice. Our savings wouldn't last forever, and while Mia had life insurance, I wanted to save that money for the boys' future. But Jen wouldn't listen. She kept insisting that she and her husband Mark, 37M, could help out financially if needed. Things came to a head last week when Jen showed up unannounced with a stack of papers. She sat me down at the kitchen table, the same table where Mia and I had spent countless evenings planning our future, and told me she thought it would be best if she became the boys' legal guardian. I was stunned. Jen went on to explain that she and Mark could provide a more stable home environment and that the boys needed a mother figure. She talked about how they had a bigger house in a better school district, how Mark's job as a lawyer meant they were financially secure, and how she could stay home full-time with the boys, just like I had done. I listened in disbelief as Jen laid out her plan. She said I could still see the boys whenever I wanted, that this wasn't about taking them away from me, but about doing what was best for them. She even suggested I could move in with them too, at least for a while, to help with the transition. When I finally found my voice, I told her absolutely not. These were my children, Mia's children. We had raised them together, planned their futures together. I was perfectly capable of continuing to raise them on my own. Jen didn't take my refusal well. She started yelling, saying I was being selfish and not thinking about what's best for the boys. She brought up every little mistake I've made in the past 6 months, like the time I forgot to pack Ethan's lunch for a school trip or when Noah got a bad grade because I didn't help him study for a test. She had the audacity to say that Mia would be disappointed in me. That was the last straw. I lost my temper and told Jen to leave. I said she was no longer welcome in our home if she couldn't respect my role as the boys' father. She left in tears, but I thought that would be the end of it. Yesterday, I got a call from Child Protective Services. They informed me that someone had reported concerns about my ability to care for the boys. They didn't tell me who made the report, but I knew it had to be Jen. I'm furious and terrified. The CPS worker is scheduled to visit our home next week for an inspection. I called John and Linda to tell them what happened, hoping they'd talk some sense into Jen. Instead, they sided with her. They think I'm being unreasonable and that I should consider Jen's offer for the sake of the boys. They even suggested that I move in with them and let them help raise the kids. I feel like I'm being attacked from all sides. These people claim to love my boys, but they're trying to tear apart the only stable thing the twins have left, their relationship with me. I'm doing my best to juggle everything, and yes, I've made mistakes, but I love my sons more than anything in this world. Last night, after I put the boys to bed, I sat in Mia's old home office, surrounded by her things, her degrees hanging on the wall, family photos on the desk, even her favorite coffee mug still sitting where she left it that last morning. I broke down and cried for the first time in months. I miss her so much. I miss her advice, her laugh, the way she could always calm me down when I was stressed. I don't know how to do this without her, but I have to figure it out. Now comment update to tag you on part 2.